I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
It used to be so simple. Heroes in white hats, villains twirling their mustaches, but lately our movies and shows are blurring the lines. Good guys with dark secrets, bad guys with a heart. Sometimes it feels like there's just this tiny step in between them. But here's the thing, we can't help but be drawn to them. Why? What is it about these morally gray characters that captivate us? Maybe even someone like Walter White from Breaking Bad.
You're not some hardened criminal, Walt. You are in over your head. No. That's what we tell them, and that's the truth.
No, it's not the truth.
Stick around because we're diving deep into the dark side of these characters, and maybe even ourselves. It's like we're fascinated by these mirror images, this distorted reflection of the classic hero. They're flawed, they make questionable choices, and sometimes they stand up to do bad things for all the wrong reasons. Now, to understand this, we need to break down the psychology behind these characters. We'll take a look at some of the iconic examples. Walter White from Breaking Bad, Tony Soprano from The Sopranos, and Arthur Fleck, the Joker. But first, let's quickly define what truly separates a hero, a villain, and that intriguing space in between, the anti-hero. Think of it like this, a hero's motives are usually pure, their methods generally by the book. They're fighting for the greater good, for justice, for what's right. Villains, on the other hand, are driven by these selfish desires, by a thirst for power or revenge. But anti-heroes, they're a fascinating blend. Their motives might be selfish, their methods questionable, but deep down there's often a cause we can connect with, something that just kind of resonates with our own hidden desires. Now you might be thinking, now just wait a minute, doesn't every hero have flaws? And you're right. Take Batman, for example. He's brooding, he lurks in the shadows, and he definitely bends the rules. But his core remains heroic. He's driven by a deep sense of justice, a need to protect the innocent. That's the key difference. Heroes ultimately fight for something bigger than themselves, while anti-heroes are often driven by more personal and sometimes darker motivations. But where exactly do we draw the line? How far can an anti-hero go before we turn away? That's where things get really interesting. To understand this, we need to look at what makes these characters tick, what drives them to make choices that make us cringe and cheer at the same time. Often it comes down to a fascinating and somewhat disturbing cluster of personality traits known as the dark triad. And believe me, these traits are as intriguing as they sound. Narcissism. This is all about an inflated sense of self-importance. Narcissists just crave admiration. They feel entitled and they're willing to exploit others to get what they want. So think of Tony Soprano, admiring his reflection, convinced of his own power and authority. That's narcissism in action. And Machiavellianism. Now this is where things get really cunning. Machiavellianism describes a manipulative and exploitive personality, someone who just prioritizes power and control above all else. Remember those scenes where Walter White coldly manipulates Jesse? That's the chilling essence of Machiavellianism. And psychopathy. This is the darkest element of the triad. Psychopathy is characterized by a lack of empathy and remorse, combined with impulsivity and a disregard for social norms. These individuals can be charming, but underneath lies a chilling detachment from the consequences of their actions.
I left something for you.
Now you might be thinking, so why are we drawn to characters with such dark traits? It seems just very counterintuitive, right? But here's the thing, these traits, while alarming, also make for incredibly compelling viewing. We're drawn to their boldness, their defiance, their ability to operate outside the confines of conventional morality. They challenge our expectations, they break the rules, and they make us question our own sense of right and wrong. These traits, often lurking beneath the surface of antiheroes, create a potent mix of repulsion and fascination. It's a dangerous cocktail, but it's one we just can't seem to resist. So let's dive into our first antihero, Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's almost like a case study in repressed desires. Think about it. He embodies those simmering frustrations many of us feel. Stuck in a dead-end job, feeling overlooked and underestimated. He dreams of power, of control, of leaving his mark on the world. And that's something we can all relate to, isn't it? That craving for something more. Remember those early scenes, Walt being emasculated at the car wash.
Hey, Mr. White. Make those tires shine, huh?
Oh my God. You would not believe he's cleaning Chad's car.
Struggling to connect with his students.
Okay. Ionic bonds. Are you done? Ionic bonds. Chapter 6.
His frustrations are palpable, and they resonate with us.
So, how was your day?
Oh, you know. I don't know. It was, it's fine.
And his transformation into Heisenberg. It's not a sudden switch. It's a gradual descent, a series of compromises, of justifications that slowly chip away at his morality. He's never fully Walter White or Heisenberg. He's both, entangled in this constant, just kind of internal struggle. That's what makes him so fascinating and so terrifying. We see ourselves in his struggles, his temptations, his rationalizations. And as he transcends deeper into the drug trade, we're forced to confront our own moral compass. How far would we go? What lines would we cross? Walt's journey is a chilling reflection of our own potential for darkness, a stark reminder that even good intentions can lead to devastating consequences. But like any tragic figure, Walt has a fatal flaw, his unchecked ego. His desperate need to be the best, to be in control, ultimately leads to his downfall.
I said 85. 85.
I wrote it down. You said 75. I wrote it.
Well, you wrote it wrong.
In the finale, he confesses to Skylar, "I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it." This raw confession shatters the illusion that he was solely driven by his family's well-being. The truth is, Walt's journey was fueled by pride, by a thirst for power, and the thrill of living on the edge. He was a man craving control, recognition, and an escape from the ordinary. Now let's shift gears to Tony Soprano, the complex patriarch of The Sopranos. He's a true embodiment of the anti-hero. On one hand, he's a mob boss involved in organized crime, committing heinous acts. But on the other hand, we see a man wrestling with internal demons and insecurities and his own mental health.
Nowadays, everybody's got to go to shrinks and counselors. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? The strong, silent type. He wasn't in touch with his feelings. He just did what he had to do. I had a semester and a half of college. So I understand therapy as a concept. But in my world, it does not go down. Could I be happier? Yeah. Who couldn't?
Tony's struggle with anxiety, depression, and also the pressures of leading a criminal empire humanize him in a way that challenges our typical notions of good and evil. His therapy sessions with Dr. Melfi offer a glimpse into his inner turmoil, his panic attacks, and his complicated relationship with his mother.
Tony!
Hi, Mom.
Oh, look who's decided to join us. And with that breath.
You know, I really don't need that right now, Ma.
Oh, aren't we being sensitive?
We see him grappling with past traumas, trying to balance his roles as a mob boss, a husband, a father, and a son. And it's not just his internal struggles. His relationship with his family and his crew reveal another layer. His love for his children, his tumultuous marriage with Carmela, his loyalty to his closest associates, those show us that he's capable of genuine emotion and connection. And Tony has this uncanny ability to make us question our own morality, to confront the shadows within ourselves. He's not just a mob boss. He allows us to vicariously experience the allure of power, the thrill of being on the top, indulging in a lavish lifestyle. We witness him ordering hits, intimidating rivals, manipulating those around him. He's both king and a broken man, a constant reminder that even those in power grapple with those inner demons. And while it's easy to condemn Tony for his actions, The Sopranos forces us to explore the gray areas of morality and what it means to be human. By blurring the lines between hero and villain, it challenges our preconceived notions of right and wrong. Now let's talk about Arthur Fleck, the Joker. He's not just a villain. He's a tragic anti-hero, a mirror reflecting the cracks in our society. He embodies the broken systems, the societal neglect, and the simmering rage that many feel when they're pushed to the margins.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
We see this in his desperate struggle to access mental health services, the brutal beatings he endures, and the desperate plea for recognition on the Murray Franklin show. Arthur's descent into madness is a slow burn, a tragic unraveling fueled by trauma and isolation. His uncontrollable laughter, his first impulse act of violence on the subway, his defiant dance atop the police car. These are all milestones on his journey to becoming the Joker. His violence, while disturbing, is a manifestation of his pain and the pain of those he represents. He becomes a symbol of rebellion against a system that has failed the most vulnerable. The riots erupt in Gotham City, his followers donning clown masks, his final confrontation with Murray Franklin.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash!
Call the police,
I'll
Gene.
tell you what you get!
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve!
These are all expressions of a deep-seated anger and frustration that resonates with those who feel unheard and unseen. And in Joker, Folie et Deux, we see this rebellion amplified through his twisted connection with Harley Quinn.
You should see it out there. They're all going crazy for you.
Their shared descent into madness explores themes of isolation and delusion and societal rebellion. But it also introduces a tragic romance, a bond forged in shared pain and a rejection of the world that has rejected them. Arthur's legacy as a Joker is complex and it's disturbing. He's a symbol of chaos and a warped reflection of our own potential for darkness. His story raises crucial questions about the nature of evil and society's role in shaping it. We're drawn to Arthur because he's the underdog, the one who dares to fight back against a system that has wronged him. But his story, it's also a cautionary tale, blurring the lines between victimhood and villainy. So why are we so captivated by these flawed, morally ambiguous characters? It's simple. Anti-heroes reveal the hidden facets of ourselves, the desires and the frustrations that we keep bottled up, that we're pushing down. They allow us to vicariously rebel against the rules, to embrace their screw it attitude. They remind us that life isn't black and white, that good and evil can coexist within the same person. We're drawn to their complexity because it mirrors our own. And let's be honest, they're just more interesting than the squeaky clean heroes we're used to. Anti-heroes challenge us to think critically, to question easy answers. But here's the thing, don't just be fascinated by anti-heroes, learn from them. Their stories are often cautionary tales, filled with destruction and consequences. It's easy to get swept up into their dark charisma, but it's important to recognize the potential pitfalls. As TV shows and movies push the boundaries, how far will these characters go? And will we continue to root for them as they descend deeper into the darkness? It's a question worth pondering. The anti-heroes we're drawn to reveal something about us, about how we view the world and grapple with our own sense of right and wrong. And as we move forward, we need to be prepared for a new wave of anti-heroes who will challenge our expectations and force us to confront our own inner darkness. They may be darker, more complex than ever before. Are we ready to face them? So do you agree with my analysis? Who do you think is the most compelling anti-hero? And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my next one above.